a rough day.
Daydreams reveal another unique feature of the mind, its ability to create inner private realities unconnected to the world around us.
First pitch. It's low and inside.
Contrary to popular belief, daydreaming is often good for us. It helps us overcome boredom, cope with problems, and be more creative. And it keeps our minds active and our brains operating efficiently when they would otherwise be understimulated. Sleep, on the other hand, helps us reduce stimulation. In fact, for years, psychologists weren't particularly interested in sleep because nothing seemed to be happening, except for the occasional dream. Even though we sleep for over a third of our lives, we knew little about it until a discovery in 1937. It was found that the brain is far more active during sleep than previously thought. Our brain waves change in form with the onset of sleep and continue to show systematic changes during the entire sleep cycle. Psychiatrist Ernest Hartman of Tufts University is an expert on sleep.
I think sleep has a restorative function and probably two restorative functions. One involving something like protein synthesis, which the whole body needs, and one involving restoration of brain processes, which our higher functions need. And the second function is the more interesting one. This function involves putting together new material from the day before with old material. It involves making connections in the brain. So I think Shakespeare put it beautifully when he said sleep knits up the raveled sleeve of care. And you can kind of see the sleeve of care, some unraveled material, new stuff that you've learned the day before, it doesn't fit in, loose ends and so on at night. In the morning, sleep has done its thing, has pulled it all together, and you're in good shape. Your sleeve has been restored for the next day's wear.
Using electroencephalograph technology, or EEG, brainwave tracings made from sensors attached to the scalp and face, researchers since the early 50s have observed adults during night-long sleep sessions. They have found consistent patterns of brainwaves which occur during predictable cycles for virtually everyone. When these brainwaves are compared with the sleeper's rapid eye movements, known as REM, a clear relationship emerges. Recurrent episodes of REM sleep are accompanied by very rapid, irregular changes of low electrical voltage in the brain. When subjects are awakened during periods of REM, which come about every 90 minutes throughout the night, most of them report that they are dreaming.
This is a diagram of a typical night of sleep in a human, a young adult who's sleeping quite well. If you follow this line here, it shows that beginning from waking, a person goes into deeper and deeper non-REM sleep. So this means slow waves in the EEG, the brain waves. Then after 90 minutes, there's a dream period, a REM period, with a lot of activation. The same thing happens 4 or 5 times during the night. Usually there are 1 or 2 awakenings during the night too. But this is the typical pattern that we all go through, quite surprisingly, whether we remember 200 dreams a year, as some people do, or never remember a dream, we still go through this pattern.
So it's possible to have a scientifically precise index of a dream, an experience we usually have for a total of about 2.5 hours each night. But what do dreams mean? Since the dawn of history, people have been analyzing them as forecasts of the future, or as the intervention of spirits of the dead. But it was Sigmund Freud who put dreams on a unique psychological pedestal. Dreams were significant, said Freud, because they revealed the presence of deep secrets that the unconscious part of the mind was trying to hide from its conscious awareness. This is Freud's office in Vienna, where he analyzed his patients' dreams as they lay on his couch. Acting as a sort of psychological archaeologist, Freud tried to unearth the hidden associations and symbolic meanings of these dreams. which he believed concealed unconscious desires and fears, many of them sexual. But there's another current theory that proposes that dreams begin not with unconscious wishes, but with the spontaneous discharge of random bursts of electrical impulses deep within the brainstem. The proponents of this controversial new theory are Robert McCarley of the Harvard Medical School and his colleague J. Allen Hobson.
It's as if in this primitive part of your brain called the brain stem, there's an automatic activation system that turns on every 90 minutes for 30 minutes or so. And it produces this structured series of activations, and the dreamer knits them together. But meaning is built into the dream, we think, and it's not intrinsically a part of the dream itself.
McCarley and Hobson call these ideas the activation synthesis theory. During a dream, the part of the brain called the pons sends electrical charges to the forebrain. That's what they mean by activation. The dreamer then tries to make sense of it all by creating a storyline. That's what they mean by synthesis. In other words, the brain creates order out of chaos.
The brain is a marvelous organ, and one of its things that it loves to do is to try to organize and to try to make meaning even if no meaning is there. And that is the way that our brain is constructed. We're more or less forced to try to knit together a coherent picture of the world.
McCarley has measured the electrical impulses in the brain during dreaming. But these impulses are only turned on for body maintenance and memory storage, McCarley says, and not for the sake of dreaming.
Why do we breathe? We don't breathe for any particular meaning. We breathe so that we can continue to live. Why does blood go to our brain? It doesn't go there for any particular meaning. It goes there so our brain can continue to survive and function. I think dreaming sleep or REM sleep is like that. Now, REM sleep is not only our special property as humans. REM sleep is seen throughout the entire mammal kingdom and is present also to a small extent in birds. So it's something we share as part of a common biological heritage dating back millions of years. Now, it's hard to imagine chipmunks having dreams as a way of generating some kind of internal meaning. They have REM sleep, but it's hard to imagine that this is generated by a psychological process, for example. The other kind of evidence that REM sleep, the basis, the biological state associated with dreaming, is something that's built into the brain, comes from our own personal history. And when we're first born, we spend over half our time in dreaming sleep. It's something very important to the brain. And we think that what REM sleep likely does to the brain is furnish an internal source of activation that promotes growth and development of the brain. So it's present in infants whose psychological apparatus is very poorly developed and who probably don't have many complex psychological constructs. But they dream a lot. They dream even more before they're born.
The Hobson-McCarley theory of dreams is still very controversial. In fact, an article outlining it in the American Journal of Psychiatry provoked more letters to the editor than any other article in the journal's history. But there is also a middle ground between their theory that dreams are all physiological in origin and Freud's theory that they're all psychological. This middle view starts with the brain's ability to form an idea about what the external world is like based on the information available to it. This construction or model of the world, which is formed by the cerebral cortex, both informs our beliefs and directs our actions. But when we sleep, information from the external world is largely cut off. So the only world our constantly active brain can model is the one already inside it. Stored memories, recent concerns, current emotions, and expectations, which can be activated by electrical impulses discharged from within the brain. In other words, dreams are the interplay of the physiological triggering of brain waves and the psychological functioning of the imaginative, interpretive parts of the mind.